Twitch presents our next big thing. Something long promised, but never delivered. Getting paid for using Twitter. For how many long years have you toiled for free on this God-forsaken site? What a mess. What a shame. What could have been. But now Twitch is here to save the day yet again. You'll finally be getting paid for all your hard work.
What's up, people? I am
that Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep Jesus dude.
welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It feels good to be here. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Shout out to Scott Adams and the simultaneous sip. Shout out to Syscoin. Syscoin's now on Binance. You can get Syscoin on Binance now. Go check them out. Awesome technology for people out there that would like to build on the blockchain. New coin out. Syscoin. Make sure y'all get in tune with the Syscoin squidard. Here. menoforder.com. All things men and masculinity. menoforder.com. A wonderful presentation lineup for you today, but I'm very excited about HotepCon, which is days away from the greatest event of the year. Our private meeting with the VIP Hoteps. I cannot wait to see everyone, meet the new faces, and see some frequent faces, some familiar faces. It's going to be absolutely epic. Absolutely epic. If you couldn't make it this year, no problem. We'll see you next year or the year after that, But eventually, we'll probably see you, especially after we go over the news we have today. Oh, my God. So here's how it's going to go. I'm going to pull up a news article from a website. We're going to read that. After we do that, I'm going to pull up some information from Fox News. And then after we do that, I'm going to pull up the bill itself. So we're going to look at a couple of different things here, what people have seen, and then we're going to look at what I saw. Okay? Let's pull this up on the screen. So this is YellowhammerNews.com. Yafi wrote this. Hopefully I pronounced his name correctly. Jerry Carl blasts Inflation Reduction Act. 87,000 new IRS agents should scare everybody to death. Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it should. He's got a point there. I'm quite alarmed. I am quite alarmed. Let's first, before we dive into this next paragraph here, let's just first acknowledge that inflation and taxes do have a polar relationship in that one can reduce the other. Taxes, obviously, taking money from people is going to siphon money out of the market or cause people to not spend as much or do as much, is going to start to retract the economy, create this convulsion that they call a depression. They're right. It's not a recession. It's depression. But that's the nature of taxes and inflation. Okay, let's continue here. It says the Democrats' new Inflation Reduction Act includes a provision that includes $80 billion of new funding for the Internal Revenue Service, which is supposed to help the government agency hire 87,000 new employees. It says U.S. Rep. Jerry Carl R. Mobile recently told Fox 10 News and Mobile that people should be concerned about the attempt to bolster the IRS with this new funding. Well, I think the first thing in that bill that scares me is that there's 87,000 new IRS agents, Carl said. I mean, to turn 87,000 more loose on our business community as individuals, it should scare everybody to death. The congressman said this effort was not just about stopping people from cheating on their taxes. He says, I don't believe for a minute that these IRS agents are just going tax fraud, big businesses, and deep pockets, he argued. 87,000. That is a lot of open cases that they can open up and go after. And I just don't believe it's tax loopholes as they're referring to it. Carl said the consumer would have to bear most of the burden of having to pay the extra taxes included in this bill. That's going to get passed on one way or the other. It's going to get passed on. Absolutely. He's right there. It's going to get passed on. It's not only going to get passed on, but it's going to get passed on to that hidden tax called inflation. But let's continue. I mean, we just another 80. Think about this. Like, oh, let's battle inflation by spending more money. 80 billion. Let's just create it. Print it. It's just hilarious at this point. So he's right. That's going to get passed on one way or the other. It's going to get passed on. He's right. Whether it comes in the form of taxes, it comes in the form of inflation. We're going to pay for that. And we want companies to make profits. We want to help people. We want to help the business environment out there. That's what pays the bills. That's what keeps us all employees. So again, we've got to be careful how much we let the government do, Carl added. And I think this is going after businesses with 87,000 agents that's almost like a communist country. Uh-oh. Hey, chat, who been told you? Hey, yo, chat, who been told you? Type it in the chat. Who been told you? Type it in the chat right now. Who been told you? Please, chat. Please. So, again, we've got to be careful. Actually, people for money. See the words he's using? Squeeze. That sounds like something you expect from a cartel. Some gangster syndicate. That's what it sounds like to me. Some gangster syndicate. Squeeze people for money. Boy. 87,000 new thugs on the street. Wow. Carl admitted that it was not certain yet that the bill being pushed by U.S. Senator Joe Manchin would be passed. He said, I don't think it's over, he advised. Obviously, they got to bring the Senate back. They've got to get 100 healthy folks there to vote. There's several out with COVID. It's not the COVID we're used to, but it's more like the flu or something. And it's what? I don't know what he's talking about. All right, let's Carl's right. I agree with Carl. Let's just say that Carl is right. Let's go to the Fox News source here. So let's look at this. This is a very interesting piece here. Okay, right here. Here it is. Pause. All right, let's bring this up on the screen. So Samantha posted this. It says, what's in the $433 billion Inflation Reduction Act of 2022? Well, it says $369 billion on energy and climate efforts, over $300 billion in green loan guarantees, $80 billion to double the number of IRS agents to conduct audits, $60 billion for environmental justice initiatives, $9 billion in tax credits for wealthy families to build electric vehicles. I don't know, they kind of, Fox News did a little Fox thing with that line, but I get what they're saying. $2.6 billion to conserve coastal habitats, $1.5 billion to plant trees. Now, it's funny because as I was reading this, bill, I hadn't seen this summary here from Fox News yet. I'd seen this previously, but when I was reading the bill, I was like, isn't this a Green New Deal? Why does this look like a Green New Deal? So here's the motivation behind me wanting to, here's the bill here. We're going to go through the bill right now. Here's my motivation behind this whole bill situation. It's 755 pages. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's pretend I was in Congress. How would I go about reading this bill as fast as possible? Because they said something like sometimes they have like an hour before they got a chance to vote on it or something like that. I said, all right, let's pretend I got an hour. So I sat here and I gave myself an hour. And first thing I noticed here was part 1, corporate tax reform. And that's when I said, uh-oh. I said, uh-oh. But we're going to come back to that. We're not even going to address that right now. We're going to come back to that. I want to first show you the only possible way a human could review this bill quickly that I found. So basically what we're going to do is each section has a title, right? So you got Title 1, Title 2, Title 3, and so on, okay? So you have Title 1 is Committee on Finance, right? Okay. So then we're going to go to Title 2. Title 2 is here. So if we look, we have page 1. Can you guys see that right there? Okay. Page 1. You see that, right? And then Title 2 starts on page 549. So you have about 540 pages, some odd pages to review just in this section. Right? Just take something big and just break it up into chunks, right? That's a really large chunk. This whole tax reform, and like I said, we'll come back to that. We will come back to that. I just want to show you that. So Title 2, I'm sorry, wait, that's Title 3. Title 2 right here. Okay. Title 2, Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. Now that's when my feelers went up and I said, what? Hey, I thought we were talking about inflation here. What are we doing with agriculture and nutrition? It gets real funny. So I said, all right, let's go to Title 3. So we get to Title 3, Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. Okay, this is where we're going to be talking about inflation, surely, right? But first, let's go back. Title 2. Title 2 starts on what page? Right here. I'm sorry, Title 3. Let's do Title 3. Title 3 is on page 580. And then we're going to go to 4. Whoops. Let's go to 4. I'm sorry. No, 3. Which one is it? Yes, 3. Okay, so it's 2 and 3. So 3 starts on 580. 2 starts on 549. Okay, it's like 40 pages, right? 50 pages, something like that. 40 pages, right? Now let's go back to 3. So here we are at 3. Now this is 3. 3 is at page 580. Okay. Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. So let's scroll. That's 1 page. That's 2. That's 3. 3.5. What? Wait, what? 3.5 pages. So surely, the part, inflation, committee on banking, this is where, we should, okay, so let's see what they did. Move energy. uh, but it has nothing to do with banking. Where's the banking part? Urban affairs. I see some housing. Where's the banking part? The loans? Is that the banking part? We're talking about the Inflation Reduction Act here, people. This is supposed to be the Inflation Reduction Act. And the section dealing with banks is 3.5 pages long. Surely there's another section in here that's maybe shorter or just as short. Let's find out. So that was Title 3. So now we're going to go to Title 4. Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, right? So that's on page 583 to 595. So that's like 30 some odd pages, right? So Title 5 is Committee on Energy. Committee on Energy. You guys see that? Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. I'll get to the super chatters in a moment. Thank you. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Title 5, Committee on Energy. Okay. Well, what's Title 6? Title 6 is page 673. Title 5 is 595. So close to 80 pages, something like 80 pages. This is what we doing? All right. So 595 to 6. Okay, we just calculated that. All right. Is there a Title 7 in this? Yeah, Title 7. Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. Okay, that's on 735. Okay, that one's also a short one. Okay, so Title 7, Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs. I don't know what this has to do with inflation reduction. I have no idea what this has to do with inflation reduction. I'm not even going to read what's here. I'm just going to look at this. So United States Postal Service Clean Fleets, United States Postal Service Office and Inspector General, Government Accountability Office Oversight, Office of Management Budget Oversight, FEMA Building Materials Program. Lord Jesus. Federal Permitting Improvement Steering Council Environment, Green New Deal shit. All right, so now we're into Title 8, Committee on Indian Affairs. Sure, this part couldn't be too long, but unfortunately, I think that's the end of the doc. Because and then they get into some stuff about Hawaii and tribal electrification program. Tribal electrification program. This is what we doing. This is what we doing. I don't know if they're laying wires for the tribes. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not even going to read it. Because it has nothing to do with reducing inflation. Emergency drought relief. Drought relief for tribes. Okay. Okay, so Title 9 here, Committee on Health, Education, and Labor. This was even longer. The Indian part was longer than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was like 5.25 pages, so that's longer than the banking part. 9, Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. This section was a mess because I actually read the document backwards. That's another trick I would say. Sometimes instead of starting at the top of a document, start at the end of the document and read up. I don't know, might sound crazy, but if you get the top and the bottom, you can kind of skim the middle. Anyway. So yeah, Title 9, Committee on Health, Education, and Labor, and this was a mess. They're even in here talking about medication, like right here it says requirements for respect to cost sharing for certain insulin products. There's a section in here about the jab. I think it's somewhere. There's here. I'll just type it in right here. Right here, the jab is licensed under Section 351 Public Health Service, and the jab is mentioned 36 times in this document. So right here, Part 5, miscellaneous. This is the beginning section. It says coverage of adult jabs recommended by the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices under Medicare Part D. So I'm not going to speculate on what that means, and because I'm not an expert on that. But as you can see, it's mentioned here. What this has to do with inflation reduction, yeah, it's mentioned a bunch of times here. Anyway, so we were in Title 9? Oh, yeah, 10. What's 10? Is there a 10? No, there's no 10 here. All right. So Title 9 was the last title. How you do that? This is 9, right? Yeah, there we go. Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff in this section. Like I said, dealing with cost of medication, negotiation with the manufacturers, of these medications and those stipulations. I don't know, it's a mess. So anyway, let's go. Now we're going to go back. Let's go to Title 1, because that's the part that has to deal with money. But it's really like the IRS section. And it's kind of wild, but let me cheat real fast because I think I have the notes right here. Okay, yeah, so page 31, my bad. Page 31 was alarming. And what did I see here on page 31? Oh, yeah. So they at the end of this section, it says, hey, this is only for people who make more than $400,000, and it's only for the 1%. Like right here, it says there is hereby imposed on each covered corporation a tax. No, this is not the 1% they're talking about. At the end of this section, they talk about the actual 1%. I'll show you. Let's go to just Title 2, and then it'll be at the top of Title 2. Okay, right here. Striking credit. Hold on. Like it was kind of like eerie how they pointed out the one right here. It says right here, no tax increases on certain taxpayers. It says nothing in this section is intended to increase taxes on any taxpayer or small business with a taxable income below $400,000. Further, nothing in this section is intended to increase taxes on any taxpayer not in the top 1%. And I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, so they're like putting, this term 1% into, I guess law. Which is kind of weird how they just like chose that verbiage, because it's a very political term, like the top 1%, because like top 1%, like how are you even calculating that? How do you even calculate the top 1%? And then who's included in that? Because I know there's a bunch of people y'all gonna say is not included in the top 1%. That's just names just won't be on that list mysteriously. So like, who is the top 1%? Anyway, my bad. So yeah, that was at the end of that section. But I think the big part was like the amount of budget money that was going out. That was $1 million. Here, let's do it like this. Watch this. This shit's crazy, bro. 100 million. Right here. 3.1 billion. This is IRS, right? To remain available, right? So right here, you're gonna see it says internal revenue. One, internal revenue service. A, in general. I, taxpayer services, right? And it's gonna say right here. One. This is the Roman numeral 1, taxpayer services. Well, Roman numeral lowercase 2, enforcement for necessary expenses for tax enforcement activities of the Internal Revenue Service to determine and collect owed taxes, to provide legal and litigation support, to conduct criminal investigations, including investigation technology, to provide digital asset monitoring. Y'all paying attention yet? Shout out to my super chatters. We're going to get to super chatters in a second. I'm going to read those out. Are we paying attention, y'all? Digital asset monitoring. I got to say that one more time. Digital asset monitoring. That's crypto. That's what that is. Anytime they start talking about digital assets, they're talking about crypto. And compliance activities to enforce criminal statutes related to violations of internal revenue laws and other financial crimes, to purchase and hire passenger motor vehicles, and to provide other services authorized by and such rates may be determined by the commissioner. So we have right here another 45.6 billion to remain available until September 30th, 2031. And that's for 3 here, operation support for necessary expenses of Internal Revenue Services, support taxpayer services and enforcement programs, including rent payments, facility services, printing, postage, physical security, headquarters, and other IRS-wide administration activities, research and statistics of income, telecommunications, information technology, development, enhancement, operations, maintenance, and security, the hire of more vehicles. More vehicles, motor vehicles, more. You're going to just be seeing like IRS vehicles just flying down the street everywhere. Such rates may be determined by the commissioner. So we have another here, 25.3 billion to remain available until September 30th, 2031, provided. And it says business systems modernization, 4.7 billion, legacy systems, task force to design an IRS run free direct file tax return system. So I guess this is some way to make it easier for you to give them your money. Administration, 104 million right here. United States Tax Court for necessary expenses of the United States Tax Court, including contract reporting and other services as authorized. 153 million to remain available. Treasury departmental services, 50 million to remain available. Right. And but then they make sure they put this clause right here, and they say no tax increases on certain taxpayers. So let's just decode that. What people might think is, ignorantly, they might read this part right here and think that everything above does not apply to them. No, only thing they're saying is that you will not by this bill, you will not experience a tax increase unless you make more than 400,000. And then in that case, Well, we'll explain that in a second. So you'll be exempt from any, and that's correct. You will not have any tax increases based upon this. You might have some tax increases due to inflation from them printing so much money from this bill, but that's a whole nother story for another day. Or flooding the market with that money. But even this 400,000 is quite egregious. Because here's the thing about when you tax this class of individuals. When you tax this class of individuals, they tax the employee. It's just going to hurt the employee. So it's like, all right, I want to stay below a certain threshold, so I'm going to cut back on, my, how many people I employ, or, some of my expenses, right? And then that those are jobs lost. That's basically what's going to happen. That's jobs lost. Also, it means jobs created overseas, because people say, well, okay, well, I'm going to have to deal with these heavy taxes here, so we'll just offshore some of these jobs now, and then they'll contract out to the Ukraine and India, right? This is what starts to happen. And that's why this is bad for the lower class. They'll never explain this to you, but this is exactly why this is bad for the lower class, because anytime you snip a guy who's got money, he's just going to adapt. I mean, he's been able to adapt to achieve that money, and he's going to adapt to keep that money and earn even more money. So he's got to avoid you. He's got to avoid this expansion of this tax bully and go somewhere else with his efforts. Or practice that's they said digital, they're going to be tracking those digital assets, so the cryptocurrency route, etc., could be an alternative for some of these people, and they're trying to rein that in as well. So don't think just because they're taxing people above 400,000 that's good. No, you want to lower these taxes so these guys spend more money and go, okay, I can afford to hire more employees for this new marketing program, right? And really put boots to the ground. Or I can spend more money on customer service and I'll hire more customer service people. This completely goes against Thomas Sowell's basic economics theory. It's just this is just terrible. But I'm gonna go to the super chats right now. But in totality, this is like a Green New Deal. It looks like a Green New Deal. It's expansion of the IRS. And Green New Deal, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. So you see, I have skimmed that in 33 minutes here. So if I was a congressman and I had to go in and vote on this thing, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. It's a no-brainer no. I don't have to read all 755 pages to know this is a no for me. This is a no. I don't have to read the whole thing. It's a no. It's a no. And anybody who votes yes on this, I would love a great explanation as to how this is going to reduce inflation without hurting the lower class, without hurting the middle class, without hurting somebody. I would like an explanation, because this is just beyond me. How your banking section, the section on banking, is only 3.5 pages. What? You are directly responsible. I know. You know how I know? I tracked you down, bro. It's right here in my book. The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. The Patriot Report, Unmasking the Conspiracy of Money and War. I know your history. I wrote the report on it. I did the work. I did the work. I got the citations. You are directly responsible for this. And it's 3.5 pages. And a congressman signed off on this. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on down in Congress. Apparently, this bill has to go to the House controlled by the Democrats. Kamala Harris was the deciding vote in the Senate last week, and she voted yes on this. And they clapped, and I'm just like, why? Because it's a Green New Deal. That's what it looks like. And y'all snuck it in, the Inflation Reduction Act. So now it goes to the House, and God knows what happens in the House. But yeah, y'all might want to tell your government not to sign off on this. You might want to call your legislators or something like that. I don't know what we're supposed to do, but this is a veto. We got to veto this, bro. This is a no-go. Oh, let's go to Super Chatters. Jeremy, he said they come in for that online money, Cash App and all. Oh, man. David Ziantar, appreciate you for supporting the channel, bro. Ill Cryptmatic, thank you. He said this bill will do nothing to reduce inflation, just like the Patriot Act has nothing to do with patriotism, Hotep, and build. Man. Bro. What up, Brody? What's up, man? Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the Inflation Reduction Act is a failure. It's an ultimate fail. It's 755 pages of failure. And that's a nonpartisan take. It's a nonpartisan take. It's a failure. It is an absolute failure. And that's a nonpartisan take. That's not a Democrat take. That's not a Republican take. That's a common sense take. That's a financially educated take. What are we going to do to reduce inflation? Does anybody in the chat know what the economic philosophy is? Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Just don't do anything. Just stop. It's $25,000 alpaca. You blot that. You don't rub it. Put club soda on it. Huh? $25,000 alpaca. Our economy is $25,000 alpaca, man. They rubbing it. And they rubbing it in. And they rubbing it in. And they rubbing it in. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Lord have mercy, Jesus. It's a nonpartisan take, people. It's a nonpartisan take. This bill is a failure. It failed to deliver. It failed to deliver. I want to say anything of substance, but I haven't read all 755 pages. So I give them the benefit of the doubt and say there could be some good in this. But overall, I'm walking into Congress and I'm voting nay. Nay. And I'm suggesting everybody else do the same too. I suggest you all to do the same too. And urge your congressmen to do the same too. Page 37. Go to page 37. That's all you got to do right there. Page 37. Where is that? Or is it page 31? Whoops. I'm going to show you. Right here. Page 38. I'm sorry. Page 38. Digital asset monitoring. What? Enforcement. That's right there. Enforcement. Funding the Internal Revenue Service and improving taxpayer Taxpayer compliance. Improving taxpayer compliance. Yo. It's like increase our extortion team. Increase the size of our extortion team. Put more thugs on the street. Put more thugs in the street. Send them come go get my money. Shout out to Tiny Zeus Lister. R.I.P. man. Send Debo out there. Go get my money. Collect from every knife and every serf in the land. From east to the west coast. Tax everyone. Shakedown. Shakedown. Classic Bolshevism. Classic Bolshevism. When the democratic socialists, when they take power and they start running around knocking on doors, it's time to pay up. Ooh. This is what you get. This is what you get. Communism. Communism. I showed you that. I showed you that earlier. It's right here. What he say? Carl. U.S. Rep Carl. Jerry Carl. What'd he say? Right there. Communist country. Communist country. It's right there. He knows it. He knows it. How about that red pill to swallow? That's what this shit is. That's if anybody asks you, tell them Hotep Jesus said. He said, "Well, what's in that?" Just tell them some communist shit. Pure commie. It's a commie document. Commie bill. That's how you can pretty much succinctly describe this. Put more thugs on the street, more monitoring. They're gonna be watching over us. More oversight. That's what this is. Democrats was clapping for this. That's my money, punk. You see what I'm saying? That's the Inflation Reduction Act, people. My name is Hotep Jesus. Subscribe. We'll be back with more invigorating information and decoding of these weird occurrences in the Matrix. I enjoyed this one in today's conversation. I thought it was very insightful. So make sure you subscribe. More great content coming to you soon.